You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, good morning, welcome to Ourself Woodwind. So today we're starting this project, which is 1965 mk6, which is the customer's pride and joy. Just a little bit of background to it. So this guy he carried it around in the hard case, and yeah, anyway, he bought himself a soft case because he couldn't manage the hard case. And I'll show you the case that he bought. You see the shape of it, it's still bent like this. So these cases do not recommend because they don't offer any protection. Always go for a hard shell, lightweight backpack case if you're going to go for one. Yeah, so don't recommend that. So what we've got here now is this saxophone here. You can see how badly creased it is in that area there. I've started taking the keys off. I'll show you the video next of a detail of how we take it apart. A couple of screws were stuck. I've had to leave this one on here because of how bent it is. We can't undo it. So as we start to straighten the body up, this should then lift up with it, and we should get it to the point where we can actually remove it. I've got to be careful because when it goes in, it's going to have to go into that hole for us to get it out. So we're just going to take it. It's pretty dirty and disgusting, but we'll wash it when these keys have come off. That'll make it better. I think for me, we're really pleased that we're in a situation where people entrust us with their pride and joys and their instruments that, you know, the value, it might be sentimental, it might be worth a lot of money. This one's worth quite a lot of money. And we're also, you know, regarded very highly by the insurance companies. And we've been working with them now for a long time, you know, 30 years as a main insurance repairer. So it's just nice to know that you know that you're in good hands. You know, we do student instruments right through to, you know, high-end instruments. No job, as you see with this, is too small. You know, well, the angle of that, I would say, is probably about 30 degrees. It's one of the worst ones I've ever done. If it was a student instrument, it would be written off, but this gentleman's only insured up to a certain value through his house. We'd probably recommend that you have your instruments, especially of this value, insured by a proper company that deal in just musical instruments, and then you know you're fully covered, you know, with it all. But anyway, it makes it into a position where I have to repair it for the customer, and hopefully we'll get it right. So what we're going to do next is show you a video of us taking it apart, and then we can then move over to the vise, and we can show you how we start to straighten this saxophone. Anyway, let's start taking it apart. We can't take that out because so if we start with this lot here, and then what I'm going to do is it's going to be a bit tricky because nothing's going to come off like it should. When I take the screws out, I always put the screws back in to the actual where it's come from, and the reason I do that is because sometimes they're different length screws. Someone might have cut the pillar in more to take up the wear, so we've just got to make sure that we go back in the same places. So the reason I'm taking the keys off because I'm going to remove it from the actual belt, the actual main stack, because I'm going to break it in half to make it easier to work with. So that'll be good. So put these screws back in. And when you're doing a big job like this is probably going to take in total probably 2 days, full days, you know, so it's quite a big job really. We've got Zach working at the side of me today again. He's just serving the customer. Girl's wants to buy a saxophone, doesn't she?
Yeah.
So he'll be coming in and out of shop, well, Zach, as he's working on it. So I think what's the hard part of repairing is telephone going, doorbell going. I mean, we need it because that's what, you know, brings us the money through the door. But it breaks you off repair sometimes, and you get to the point where you can't get your job done, you know, that you're wanting to do as much. I damaged my shoulder as well. Just, I don't know if anybody cares, but it's not easy. It affects me how I use my screwdrivers. Doctor said it's overuse, and I think it's, you know, probably getting, you know, working too hard on these instruments sometimes. But anyway, we'll work through that. So now we've got the bell into that position, we can take this back guard off now. Bigger screwdriver. This will be speeded up, I think. Take off that. And now what we're going to do is just release the these can be really stuck because they take a lot of spit. So this is the brace that holds the body and the belting. Oh, like I said, oh, this is the first problem we've got. If Zach just passes the oil, please. I use PB blaster for stuff like that. What I'm going to do is just squirt some on my screwdriver and just nice and gently just put that in. It's like a penetrating oil. Used to use WD-40, but then I find out it's not actually for that, it's for water repellent, and this is the proper stuff. So just going to try and break this off there. And then just please do a full strip of the body, because what I'm going to try and do is keep the lacquer okay on it. So, you know, it's easy just to sort of pull it back and make a right mess. But what I'm trying to do is get it so you can't even tell it's ever been done. Which I know sounds... I know it sounds easier said than done. We got that look at the blue screwdriver, please. Thank you. It's like being a doctor, isn't it, with scalpel, surgeon. Oh, that isn't coming out. Blood jogs. Oh, it's on the back still. Okay. So we'll just get a bit of heat onto the screw. And that should get the oil going in there better. There we go. Did you hear that click? That was a good sign, wasn't it? So sometimes just working with it, but making sure that the oil gets in the heat expands the outside, so it makes it better. What we don't want to do is turn the head of the screw off, so it's better to actually do a little bit of work on it and then work it in. I could have just tried to get it off, knackered the head in, then we're in a really bad situation where we have to drill it out and everything, you know, which we don't really want to do. And then that just comes apart from like that. So you can see, lovely build up of something in there. I'll just put that to one side. So now it's easier to sort of get it's quite a dirty instrument, so I mean it needs a service anyway. So that's that clamp I was telling you about earlier. You know, that's what fastens the belt to the body. What we're going to do is when we put it back together, we'll solder it together, because soldering it to the actual body helps the resonance of the actual sax. So it will improve the sax. I think when I finish this saxophone, I can't see a problem being play as good as it ever did when it was new, really, even though it looks like it'll never work again. I think we've just got to put the shaft back in there. So I don't know if this will come off, because we're getting to the quite badly bent key work now. And some of this is taking a little bit. It's coming apart fairly easy, really. Obviously this part will be that we can't take that out until I straighten it. I'm checking all the keys off that. Ow! Stabbed myself. It came off fairly easy, did that. Bit of blood, never mind. Never killed anyone, did it? And then when this is all off, we can sort of assess it a little bit better. Let's see how bad some of this is. Some of these springy things get in the way. Let's see if we can get this one off as well. It's amazing how light the actual body of the saxophone is when they'll keywork off. I think it's something like 70% of the weight is actually in the keywork. I've never worked on a saxophone in this shape before, but hey, there's always a first. I've done some pretty bad dent work. What I mean by that is the instruments were pretty bad, not my work, obviously. And I'm always proud how they actually end up. You know, it's usually a case of it being, I didn't know it was possible to do it, but if you can imagine when a saxophone's made, it's flat brass, and then we have to curve it round and hammer it and that. So all I'm going to effectively do with this is do reverse process from do a reverse process. Just looking at it as I'm taking the keys off, it's sort of starting to make it look a little bit more what I need to do, what I'm working with. So you can see from this now, we can see a lot closer what the damage actually is with it. So what I'm going to do is pause the video, take some detailed photographs, which then I can show you in the video, and then we'll move from here over to the vise and we'll try and just start to straighten it. We'll see how that works. So we're going to start moving over to the vise now. So what I have here is a tapered rod, which is exact taper for a mk6 body. So what I'm going to do is start pulling this back. Now the problem we have with it pulling this back is where the creases are so deep, it could crack, and we don't want that to happen. So it's a case of just doing it slowly and just pulling it back. What happens is when it gets compressed, it gets really brittle in the actual crease itself. So, you know, yeah, it's not going to be an easy job in this. This is knowing how brass works. If I was just to go like that, it would crack and snap. So what we have to do is build it up slowly and just get it into the right place. Because you've got to remember, this is this guy's pride and joy. He doesn't want anything to go wrong with it, you know, and he's entrusting me with this. So I've got to just be very, very careful with it. And then hopefully when we're finished, it'll be invisible with the repair. Might see a few lines where, because I can't take these, you know, where the lacquer's cracked, but hopefully all this will go down. Just going to add a little bit of heat. You see, it's slowly coming out. It's still got a big crease on there. Try and take that rod out now, I think, because it's just pushing against that. I think that's just holding that off. So you just need to straighten that part there, which is just, can you pass this wooden hammer, please? It's in the right hand corner over there. 360s running. Not other one, please. Yep. So we've got that lot straightened out. So now, this here I've got the rod fully inside, as you can see in that. So I'm just going to start lightly tapping it. We use a wooden hammer, so it dents the hammer, not the actual instruments. And it's just to get a bit of this metal back down. Which will then help it straight up, because at the moment it's just holding it from it's hitting it a lot lighter than you would actually think. So today, day 2, we're going to do some more work around this area to try and lift it up. The body itself straight now, but it's just down a little bit in these areas here. I'm really pleased that on it here you can see where the tone holes have nearly come back. I haven't touched the tone holes and these were crushed completely, so I do know the body is somewhere near, but if you look, it's just down a little bit there, down a little bit there. So what we're going to do is use the technique where we hit the bar up to it, and then that just lifts at that point. That'll just lift it up to that point. So we've got Gustavo is going to be the hitter today. So what I do is I push the bar into the position where I want it to lift the actual body up. So you can see it's down a bit there and around there. So we'll probably start there on it. And I'm going to hold it exactly where I want to do and pivot it on the thing. So if you just
Quite strong.
Yeah, just hit it. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Just keep checking it's on the correct position. Okay. Yep. 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 What this is doing is keeping the body straight, but just lifting on the area where I need it to lift. Okay. Yep. This area here now. Okay. Yep. Okay. Let's just try there. Okay. 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 So you see it's lifting up slightly around the area I need it to be. Okay. Okay. So Gus has been in Brazil now for a month and he's just come back. One of his first jobs is
Hitting a bar.
hitting the bar. So what I'm going to do now is just tap it down a little bit, just to make it get more into shape. But when we look down it, it's very, very straight is the body now. I'm just needing to round this area off. So I'm just going to hammer. Thank you, Gus.
Cool.
Back again now. So put my fingers either side. The reason I do that is so it just puts the pressure on these points. If I was to hold it like that, then it could be anywhere. So I'm concentrating on this area here. Very light tapping. What this is doing is lifting and rounding the bar. You can hear the sound with it. If I was to hit it really hard flat, it would dent the actual body. What I'm doing is just stretching the actual metal by going across the metal. It's this last little bit that takes ages to do, but this is the part that makes it look, you know, like it's not been there before. I could build it together. It would play as it is, but it'd still look like it had been damaged. So what we're just trying to do is make it look like it's never been damaged before. you can just see it's just starting to take shape. And the difference in sounds you can hear is where it's rounding it off. Again, it's about working the material rather than trying to do it in one hit. What we're trying to do is do it in numerous hits. I told you about my shoulder before. I struggle sometimes, so you have to take a break with it. Slowly working the brass, getting that high point down. You can hear the sound change when it actually meets the actual rod itself. So the rod I'm using is a straight rod rather than the tapered rod, and this enables me to pivot around the area I wanted to do. I'll go back onto and use a new tool which is called a burnisher. So a burnisher is it's an old file that we filed down and ground down and polished, so it's very hard, but this will just enable us to smooth that area. Making it. So it's squashing the metal between the two bars. It's called burnishing. It's been around for hundreds of years. That's this technique. A lot of the tools I use, I make. So you see now how nice that started to come there. If I push too far through, we can always lift it back up again. So we just work. So what I'm thinking of doing is, if we just pin on the lacquer, is I might just remove some of the lacquer and then patina it so it looks like it's been like it's old. It just gets rid of these highs and lows. I think hopefully you can see it in the actual video. So because it's floating, the actual thing on the rod, it actually finds its correct path. Finds its correct path and it starts rounding it, because I'm going to around rod. You always use the rod that's as near as you can get to the actual shape of the. But you can now start seeing with that how round it's getting and how into shape it's getting. So. It's not easy doing a video, I'm working on it at the same time. But I'm assuming it's recording it okay, because I only get one go at it. It's not like I can go back and press record on something.
It's looking good.
So you can see now that is definitely taking a lot better shape. Where the lacquer's worn here, like I say, so you can see how it's got patina there. If I make this area patinaed afterwards, it'll just look like it's been, it's meant to be. I'm sorry this is a long video that we're doing, but I'm trying to show it in different formats, and you might as well watch the whole video, and it's up to you if you want to do, but it's there if you do want to watch it. Just get a bit tricky here. Just to make sure through there I can see the end of the rod, so I'm just making sure I'm still on the actual rod itself. So the lacquer's coming off on its own. Still. You see, it's a long, drawn-out process. Right, I'm gonna have a rest with my arm, but you can see that's definitely now taking the. So now we're going to do a quick run over of how it's looking now. I think it's pretty good as that, really. So I've just, this is the straight shaft. I'm just pushing this through and just seeing how it's going to actually fit, and I cannot believe I have not touched the pillars. This is exactly as it's been straightened back, and I cannot believe it's just a fraction off that hole there. Ever so slightly. You just see it's slightly to one side. That's the only adjustment I'm going to have to make to them pillars. And then I've now straightened this key, so you can see, if we just show you, oops, how free that is, yeah? So that's dead straight now. And then when I put it on here and I put the shaft through, this is its first ever fitting, and nowhere. So I mean, even I'm amazed at that, how close that body is to being absolutely dead straight. And that's with me not touching the pillars or anything at this stage. So a very fine adjustment, and we're happy days. So we've now got the saxophone somewhere near, well, very near. I'm very pleased with that, really. And then what we've done is we've rammed the tone holes off, so you can see now that's now round again. So we've done all the tone holes, that's good. And then what I've done is I've levelled the tone holes off, because obviously because of the trauma that it's gone, you've got to level it off. And in that we use these sanding discs, you know, and we're just going like that. But everybody doesn't really know how to do this properly, so if I just explain it, then people sort of know. When you get damage to the actual saxophone, and in this sort of area here, around here, what you've got is it dips down, and then some people sand it or file it, the tone hole, down to the dip. What you should do is lift the tone hole up so it's almost level, and all we're doing with that is literally polishing the top so it's all shiny, polishing the top so it's flat, so the pad seats. But what we do not do is push down and take this sand down to the dip, lift the dip up. So that's the main thing. And the reason we do that is because if you're taking this down, you're actually altering the colour of the note, the tonality of that note. So the chimney height has got to be the same height on that. So, and then what we're going to do is, you can see now I've moved on. I've got the keywork now, and we've straightened it so you can see how it spins. You know, we know that's going to work perfectly now. That I've gone through all the rest of the keys. You know, you can see all that going like that now. So what we need to do then is transport that onto the actual saxophone, and I'll just move it on there. We've got the old shaft here, which I'm in the middle of straightening. It's a tedious job getting that bang straight. The shaft I've been using is from the bottom, so it's a bit long, but it does it so I can get the keys straight. And if I know the keys are straight to a straight rod, then when I'm straightening the bent rod, I know that's straight as well. So you've got to have somewhere to sort of start from. I don't know if anyone else has used this type of technique to straighten rods, but you just drill an exact hole inside the drumstick and move it up and down thing, and just bending by pressure on it and straightens the shaft. So we're going to test the saxophone now, and Harvey's just going to give it a blow through before the customer arrives, just to make sure that everything's perfect with it. So I don't know what you fancy playing, but just play something. You play alright?
Plays really nicely, yeah.
Cool.
Low end is really, really nice.
Cool. So we're now at the unveiling part of the process, gentlemen. It's quite excited to see this, so if we just gently pull this cover off, so I don't want to cause any damage to it. There we go. If we just hand it to him.
We'll drop it.
We're balancing that gate.
So it's totally straight now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good, that, isn't it?
Apart from a tiny little blemish on it there on the side,
Yeah, well,
where it strips the metal,
I'm going to say I couldn't imagine that.
then nobody would
on
know any different, really, to it. You know,
Super.
and it plays fantastic,
Yeah.
really, really well. So it's all been play tested by a couple of people, and
Yeah.
we're very happy how it plays.
Yeah. What do you think?
Magic, innit?
Yeah.
It's quite magic. It came back really well. I mean, it came back so straight
Yeah.
when I pulled it back,
Yeah.
that the actual shaft just went through all the pillars, so the
Yeah.
pillars were absolutely came back dead straight.
Yeah.
So I couldn't believe how well it came back.
Some work though, isn't
There's some work involved in that.
Dave kept ringing up about a week after and saying, how he got on with that? I said, I'm not going to bother him. I said, he's got
Yeah.
3 weeks of work.
It's a lot of work, and it's 45 years of knowing how to work brass.
Yeah.
You know, in that. But
Yeah.
excellent.
Lovely job.
Very happy customer.
Yeah.
Thank you.